I'll shift the chair and completely ruin it anyway. Move along. It's one of my habits. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for coming and bringing your tea. I think you can always tell at the RBC if we've got dignitaries in because the chocolate Jaffa cakes come out, which, as we know, isn't every week. We're absolutely delighted to welcome director of Donkeys, which you've just seen, and judging by its reaction, and one of the chaps who couldn't stay because in true Dumfries tradition he had a bus to get, but did say, and I quote, "It's not often I want to burst into a round of applause at the end, but that did make me want to burst into a round of applause." So please welcome to the RBC Morag McKinnon. Thank you. We're not allowed to move the chair, so be aware of that.
So I won't run about. I promise.
Happy with that? Happy with the way it came out?
I'm kind of I'm happy with the responses that I've seen audiences have. I think when I started out, I envisaged it in a slightly different way, because when you make things always kind of go in different directions that you don't expect. But I think the main thing that I'm happy with is the key performances. I thought that they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I think for me that's the big thing, and because it's a really tough script to do in that way, and there was a sense that people might have wanted bigger performances or something, but I don't know, just working with the actors was an absolute joy, and that for me is the big thing that I think I feel really happy with.
Right.
Yeah.
And how much workshopping did you have? How much time did you have with the actors that you were able to utilise?
Not a huge amount, to be honest. I mean, I think there was a half day here and a half day there.
Right.
But it wasn't a huge amount, not for a feature. I think I actually probably had more rehearsal time for the short that I did home, which is a bit odd. But but I think they did an amazing job. They really brought a lot of truth to it.
Yes, I mean, I think we had Gregory's Girl. We watched Gregory's Girl here last week. And not only the penguin kind of connection.
The penguin
in this one.
I love it.
I thought there's another Scottish film with another penguin.
Chuck Murray saying, "Go away, small boy."
That's right. That's right.
It's beautiful.
But again, there's not a bad performance in that film. Everyone seems natural. No one seems forced. Particularly, I thought, was it Natasha Watson who played the granddaughter? That was a brilliant performance.
She's lovely. She's amazing. She's doing a lot of stuff, I have to say, but she's absolutely lovely.
So how did you go around casting it? Who was? I guess Kate was already assigned. How much did you have? How much freedom did you have?
Well, this is where we find out that the whole scheme that it was made under, I blew it completely. Change. You were meant to stick to the rules, and the rules were we started off developing stories from a group of characters. This scheme was called Advance Party, and we were all meant to cast the same characters and use all the same characters. And obviously Andrea's came first, and that was Red Road, and we were meant to stick to those characters. But then when our script was fully developed, we just couldn't, because the guy that played Alfred in Red Road was actually very, very ill, and actually subsequently has died, which is terrible. And there was an awareness that he was quite a frail man, so we couldn't have used him. But also the demands of the script became different from what were applicable to Red Road, so we had to recast again. And I think that in terms of the scheme, there's kind of we saw a sort of limited amount of people, so when we came to cast for this, we actually saw a much broader amount of people, which we really needed to do, and we saw some fabulous people, and ended up with some fabulous people.
I mean, James Cosmo is kind of acting legend now.
Lovely, isn't he?
And brings so much to that role, because I think you're investing in him because you've seen him for so long that you travel on that journey with him. Were you conscious of that when you were making the film, that these actors are getting older as well, and they're pretty raw in their honesty on screen?
I think so, and I think also for James is that in a sense, I think that sometimes he just gets roles for big men.
Yeah.
And actually this was not a role necessarily for a big man. It was a role for somebody who's going through something quite profound, and I think that he really I just thought he did it so beautifully. And so sensitively, it was great.
Yeah.
So I mean, and also like Brian. I mean, to me, Brian's a legend. I remember seeing him in If,
Yeah.
you know, Lindsay Anderson's If, and so I mean, for me, you know, you follow these people and you chart their kind of, you know, what they've done. And I was saying to James the other day, so I saw you in something. It was like The Wicker Man, and it was called Doom Watch.
Oh yeah, the one on
And
the
it's
island.
and you just, you know, you're aware that you've been with these people for a long time, and you do have an emotional kind of reaction to them.
Yeah, I think so. So you mentioned that some of the changes, how you saw it, and some of the changes. Am I right in saying you worked in advertising?
I've done a few commercials, but not a lot.
Right, but everything must be so controlled there that the vision is the one that you end up with. Was that difficult? Was that a tough adjustment to go from complete control of how you wanted it to be to kind of this negotiation, if you like?
I think the thing is, no, I think that's okay. It's more the curveballs of fate that are the problem in a way. You know, there's things like I had a location fall through halfway through the shoot and had 2 days to find another one, and then like the graveyard scene was meant to be fantastically cinematic, and then I found this great location, and then the sound man said there's no way you can shoot it here. And so I had to adjust it to a place that, you know, I mean, actually it's the performance that carries it anyway, so, but it's just, it wasn't meant to look like that. And also similarly, one of the main locations was a place that for me was fantastic. It was a spectacular location.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you drive into Glasgow and there's 2 massive water towers and they're all lit up, and that's where it was meant to be.
Right.
And then there was a small incident and I wasn't allowed to shoot there, and I was told that I had to find a new location. So, you know, there was just the curveballs being thrown at you all the time, and it was really difficult to keep on top of all that. So I think it's more the curveballs that fate deals you that are the things that are difficult to keep on top of.
And how did you keep on top of them? How did you?
One survives. As I just decided, I thought, well, it's not going to look quite how I want it to look, but if the performances are true, that's what's going to carry it. So I totally just went for that.
Yeah, and do you think it's because I found when I've interviewed directors, they're quite self-effacing like that, which everybody else's great work. And I just pointed the camera. I'm not wishing to flatter you, but I think to get humour in the situations you do. I mean the euthanasia scene is a really tough watch, but you still make it very gentle and very funny. That's a great director's trick, I think. So how do you approach scenes like that?
But well, the thing is, it sort of comes from the script. I mean, the thing is, if you love the script, and I love the script. And Colin and I have to just say, you know, Colin and I go way back. We went to school together. We've been pals. We've shared flats. And so the thing is, we've got a kind of shared sense of humour. And I think the thing is, if you get it, then you kind of, what you're just looking for is a truthful depiction that it comes from the script.
Right.
You know, and I think the thing is, it's like, I mean, I teach at the art college, and I'm always saying that when you're directing a scene, the thing that you're looking for is, when you're watching it, do you feel it's true? You know, and if you don't, why not? And then you've got to investigate that whole thing, and I think also you've got to kind of let the actors do. If you over control somebody, they can't find their own truth. Yeah. So in a sense, well, they love the scripts as well, and it's just, I think there's a sort of a human thing. You know, you've got to just let it be human. Yeah.
So when you say that, was much of the script altered? Was there any ad libs or?
I can't think. I mean, it's not the sort of script that you ad lib with, because there's rhythm in it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a deliberate. I mean, Colin's a big fan of things like Hancock's Half Hour, things that are scripted in a wonderful rhythmic way, and there's a rhythm that you. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think there's the odd thing that might have kind of got thrown in, but only if it's in keeping with the general feel of it. Yeah,
because I mean, certainly looking at those performances, ad-lib's the wrong word, but they seem so natural that they can't possibly have been scripted, you know, because they do just seem to inhabit those characters, which I think is great. Yeah. What's the response been like?
It's difficult to know. I mean, we premiered it at the Edinburgh Film Festival, and I was in on one screening, and you know, the thing is, we'd never screened it with an audience, and I was actually really surprised at the amount of laughter, because I
Right.
wasn't you don't know if people are
Yeah.
going to respond to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I respond to it, but you don't know if everybody's going to go for
Yeah.
it. So, but it was a lovely response, and it was very heartening. And some people seemed quite moved, and I mean, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I just think one has to have diversity in life, and I hope this kind of is part of that.
And where do you think it fits into the kind of the Scottish tradition or the British tradition of filmmaking? In that realist tradition or the humorous tradition?
I don't know. I kind of hope that there's a little bit of absurdity in there as well. I'm quite a big fan of the absurdity of real life. I don't know exactly where in the canon it kind of fits, but I would like to think that it's in a place where people respond with their hearts, I suppose, and they kind of feel it's true. And somebody sort of levelled an accusation that it was terribly ordinary, and I have to say I'm really glad it's ordinary. Right. I think that there's something extraordinary in the ordinary, and I'm a big champion of that. Yeah,
but full of incredibly tender moments. I think the scene where he kisses him at the end on the forehead is just, it's a real wrenching moment, I think. One of the reviews I read of it described it as a real life still game. Which I thought was a brilliant description.
Well, that's an honour. That's a very big honour.
And high praise, I think, for considering that tradition. Could you tell, you talked about the process and the production of it, and where does it fit into Red Road? What was the scheme? Could you fill in a bit more detail about that?
Well, it started off with Lars von Trier, who had this idea that he very much believes in, if you set up obstacles for a filmmaker, then it gives them a challenge to react to, and you make something in relation to that, and that's an interesting process. So this was called Advance Party, and as I said, there's 8 characters that were written by Luna Scherfig and Anders Thomas Jensen, who are both acclaimed filmmakers in themselves. So those characters were given to 3 filmmakers. One was English, which was Andrea, Scottish, me, Danish, don't know what happened to him. So he's doing the Danish equivalent of Friends, and so we were all to take, I think he's quite happy doing that, we all to take the characters and try and implement them in a story and weave them in, and we did as best we could, but and then the sort of infamous story now is I was in Denmark, and we were having trouble getting all the characters in, and I said to Lars von Trier, I said, well, what happens if you can't get them all? And he said, oh, just have them go by in a bus, so.
So did you not find it constraining in any way? Was it more enabling because you had backstories that you could kind of tinker with rather than come to fresh and attempt to mould them?
I don't quite know what to say about it in a way, because in some ways it enabled because it gives you a structure to work to. But having said that, if it had been a choice of go and make what you want, that's not what I would have made.
Yeah.
I would have made something entirely different. I probably would have made something science fiction or something crazy like that, So in a sense, there's an enabling part of it, but at the same time, it's not carte blanche. You can't do what you want.